Around 3 to 4 months ago, I made my first YouTube video, the FX Impact M3 review. And to this day, it has over 13,000 views, which is absolutely incredible to me because I never expected to get that many views on my first video. But with it being my first video, it was my first time being behind the camera and my first time editing, which meant the video was not of the best quality and definitely wasn't the best review video on YouTube. Because of this, many of you shot to the comment section to let me know that you did not enjoy the video, but that's totally okay because that's just constructive criticism and you gotta be ready for that kind of stuff on YouTube. But there were also many of you that went to the comment section to tell me you really enjoyed the video, and that support was extremely helpful to me, and to those people I owe a huge thank you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to comment that stuff. So basically what I've decided to do is completely redo my last video and somewhat do it in a way that I can prove that I've gotten better being behind the camera and with editing and the whole YouTube scene in general. So I had to kind of sit back and think about what went wrong with my first video, other than just the poor quality of it, but what me myself could have done better and how I could have edited better, and what really makes someone enjoy a YouTube airgun review, which was perfect for me because I've spent countless hours on YouTube watching reviews of extremely nice guns, hoping I could have one day, and now I finally do, and I'm able to make a review of it. So what was it to me that made these reviews enjoyable? And to answer that, I'd have to say everyone always comes to these videos to see the accuracy of the gun, but also I thought I would provide some pros and cons. I'd go over a section where I would show if the gun is right for you, if it'll fill your needs, and then in the end just give my final thoughts on the gun and what my ownership has been like with it over the past 4 to 5 months. First off though, let's go over my Impact M3 and some of the things I've done to it. Starting off with the barrel, I have the 700mm Superior Heavy Liner. Then to the bipod, I have the Accutech WB4 bipod in the gold color, which I just recently got at RMAC from Utah Airguns. So a big thank you to Utah Airguns. RMAC was extremely fun and I had a blast. Then moving to the scope, I have the Athlon Ares ETR. And then from there to the bottom, I have the Saber Tactical Arca Rail Gen 2. I also have a new grip that I just got put on, which I also got at RMAC, so once again, a big thank you to Utah Airguns. Alright, here we go at 50 yards. Just get everything set up. Alright, here we go at 50 yards. Oh. Alright, it has been over a week since we did the 50-yard groups, which I'll get into why it's been over a week right after this, but for now, let's take 5 shots at 100 yards. There. Hey everyone, this is coming in after the accuracy section where we're out shooting the gun, and I just wanted to briefly go over why the 100-yard group was over a week after the 50-yard group. And that was because that day the day I shot the 50-yard groups, I did shoot 100-yard groups, but I wasn't super impressed with them and I knew the gun could do better, so I kind of set out on tuning it myself, trying to find what I could do to get the best accuracy. And I wanted to give a huge shout out to Steve at AEAC, because one day at work when I was extremely frustrated after trying everything from 970 to 1,050 feet per second and I just couldn't get it to work, I was listening to his video on him working on the Maverick that he has, and he talks about how he had better results at slower speeds with slugs, so I thought, why not give that a try? And basically I put in the 38 grain slugs and started shooting them at 900, and it did not work very well at all, so then I went back up to trying to shoot them really fast. But then I decided to come back down and try shooting them around 940, and that's when I got this group right here. This was my first sub MOA group at 100 yards, so I was really impressed with that and really happy with that. And then after that, today when the camera died, you could still see the group, but this was it. I just took the target off and put it on here to show you, but this was the shot when we were finding out what we were hitting at, and then this was our 5-shot group, and this was the second shot, a little bit of a flyer, but then I put 4 pretty much in one big hole at 100 yards, which I'm still pumped up about a little bit, super excited. That's definitely one of the craziest groups I've ever had at 100 yards. But if you have an M3 and you're curious about what tune I'm running, I'm shooting the 38.6 grain NSAs at 940 feet per second with the heavy slug liner, Superior heavy liner. So, and then also I can put up on the screen, I'll put it up right now, the exact rake pressures and where I have everything set up on my gun, where I got it to shoot this well at. But I thought I would just cover overall of that for the accuracy section and just kind of mention 2 things that helped me find what got my gun to shoot slugs well were slowing the speeds down. And I know a lot of people say with slugs you got to turn it up, but for me I had better luck with a slower speed. And 2, my grip on the gun made a very big difference for me. I used to grip the gun from the side kind of, but once I kind of readjusted my grip to more behind it instead of from the side, I noticed that my groups are tightening up quite a bit, so I hope that helps. Back to the video. Alright, now I'd like to go over some of the pros and the cons of the gun. And let's start off with the cons so we can just get those out of the way. The gun is a little intimidating to a newer shooter. You could definitely buy the gun from someone and have them set it up for you so you can just buy it and shoot, and it'd be simple like that. But a lot of people buy this gun because of the adaptability of it and how you can change it to do basically whatever you want, which is a pro, but I know it can be somewhat intimidating to people just getting into the air gun industry and they don't necessarily know about tuning and all that, so it can be somewhat a little intimidating. And then also the price tag, it is a bit of a pricey gun, but I believe you 100% get what you pay for. But that would pretty much be my only 2 cons of the gun. I know some people aren't a huge fan of the way it looks, and I can somewhat see where they're coming from, but the gun is so customizable. I truly believe you can turn it into something that is beautiful no matter what you're into. People make wood grips for these, all kinds of different stocks you can put on it, different colorways you can get it in, so I really don't think that's too much of a problem. But moving on to the pros of the guns, as someone who hunts a lot and uses the gun for hunting, there's 2 huge pros I can tell you right off the bat, which would be the high capacity magazine. It's perfect for what I do going out and shooting prairie dogs on a ranch. There's thousands of prairie dogs out there, and you have multiple targets popped up all the time. And having that high round magazine makes it super easy to focus on shooting and focus on getting the ranges, the accuracy, and all that stuff, and not really having to worry about how many slugs or pellets you have still in the magazine. So that's something I didn't really think I needed until I had it, and now I can't really imagine going back to something with an 8 or 10 round magazine, as it has been so nice having the high capacity round magazines. And then second off, a huge pro for hunting with this gun is just simply the accuracy and the power. With prairie dogs, I'm hunting in an open field, open ranges, prairie, and prairie dogs can pop up out to 200, 250 yards, and I know I have the power to take them down extremely humanely with slugs, and considering how much power this gun puts out, and I know it has the accuracy to consistently take shots at prairie dogs out to 200, 250 yards once you get your tune right and once you kind of know your capabilities of how far you can reach out with this gun. Some of the other pros of the gun, though, would be the bottles, things like that. You can get an insane amount of shots out of this gun depending on the tune you have. Speaking of tune, how flexible the gun is, I could throw a 177 caliber barrel on here and tune it down to 6 foot-pounds and have a gun that is going to get a ridiculous amount of shots per fill and be perfect for shooting mice in my backyard. And then I can throw a 30 caliber barrel on here and tune it up and have a gun that is totally capable of handling coyotes and feral pigs and stuff like that. Or you can do what I did, throw a 22 or 25 barrel on here and somewhat get the best of both worlds and have something that's going to be perfect for hunting that smaller game such as birds, rabbits, prairie dogs, and then even a 25 caliber with slugs nowadays, I'd say you can definitely get the power to take down coyotes if you have the accuracy and are confident in your shot placement. As far as other pros of this gun go, the accuracy not only in a hunting aspect but just in a target shooter aspect. Going to RMAC, I was able to see everyone there and what they were shooting, and if you haven't seen the results, it was dominated by FX and the Impact. There were some really good shooters from all the different airgun companies there, but the top 5 in pretty much all the competitions were FX, and if not, they're really close, which was not too much of a surprise because they've been doing this for a couple of years now and they've had really good success at these competitions. Their barrels just work and they've found a really great way to make pellets extremely accurate out of here. So if you're someone who's getting this to compete with, I would totally recommend this gun as it does well at all the big airgun competitions every single year. And then I think my last pro, which might be a little repeating, but just how flexible the gun is as far as other things you can put on it, the different stocks, all the different attachment points. You can really change the gun to be exactly what you want it to be and customize it to be just yours and fit you perfectly. But that would be my pros and cons for the gun. In this section of the video, I'm just going to briefly talk about if this gun is right for you. And I might sound a little biased when I say this, but I truly believe that the Impact is the right gun for just about anyone. No matter what you're looking to pick up an airgun to do, whether it's just shooting paper, shooting mice out of your backyard, or hunting coyotes, the Impact covers literally everything. I know I talked about it earlier, but you could throw a 177 barrel on here and have a perfect little backyard gun, or throw a 30 caliber barrel on here and have a medium game hunting rifle that would work extremely well. The only reason I could see this gun not working super well for someone is if you're super accustomed to the traditional rifle style. It is a bullpup, so it's quite a bit different than your average rifle if you're coming from the powder burner world. So I could see that being a problem for some people. If it's just not their style of gun and they want to try something else, then there's a bunch of other guns on the market that are more so built in that kind of way, like the FX Crown, FX Dreamline. They look a lot more traditional, but I really think that this is not much harder to shoot at all compared to a traditional rifle. I actually enjoy it quite a bit more. I come from shooting traditional rifles, and I've decided I've really liked the bullpup design on these. I like the way it looks personally, and I like the way it handles a lot more than a traditional rifle. But I know that's just me, not everyone's like that. So if you do not like this kind of style, there are other options out there. But I do personally believe this gun works for just about everyone. You can shorten the gun down if you want a truck gun. You can lengthen it out if you want to do some long range hunting like I have. You can really do just about whatever you want with this gun because of how versatile it is. Alright, wrapping things up now, I'm just going to go over some of my final thoughts on the Impact M3 and how my ownership of this gun has gone. To start things off, I'll talk about when I was about to buy it. I was pretty scared. I wasn't going to know how to operate the gun extremely well, like how to tune it and get it shooting at the higher speeds accurately, or just at any speed accurately with slugs. But there's so many YouTube videos out there and people out there online that are more than willing to help you. The airgun industry is amazing, and it's truly a great community of people who are all willing to help and help each other out, which I found out, and it's really amazing. I definitely would not have the gun shooting anywhere near as good as it is right now if it weren't for some people online helping me out and showing me how to get it there. So if you're looking at this gun as one of your first higher end guns you're wanting to buy, but intimidated by everything going on here, I wouldn't be if I were you, because I was in that placement or spot, and looking back on it, it really isn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be. The gun really is truly pretty simple once you kind of get everything down, and I've really enjoyed learning more and more about it and taking it from a point where you're not happy with the groups you're getting to a point where you are happy with the groups you're getting is something that's super satisfying and is really a cool thing just to do and learn more about the piece of equipment you have and you're using. Over my 4 to 5 months with the gun, I've learned a lot, and I've definitely became a pretty big fan of FX and what they've done with the impact system. I would totally recommend the gun to anyone. I haven't had any really bad experiences with the gun or hasn't done anything wrong. It's been working pretty flawless for me. So my final thoughts on the gun would be that it's done well. It's over impressed me, if anything. It hasn't been anything, didn't fall short of any of my expectations, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my ownership of the gun so far.